Okay, so imagine you're a doctor, and you're trying to treat a patient, but you can't understand each other.
Yeah,
It's a scary thought, right?
definitely.
Well, AI might be able to help with that.
Oh, interesting.
Today, we're going to be diving into the world of Arabic large language models,
Okay.
LLMs for short.
Got it.
We're going to be looking at how they're being developed to bridge language barriers in healthcare.
That's fascinating.
These language barriers, it's a major issue globally.
Definitely a major issue.
Millions of people are facing healthcare disparities because of it.
Absolutely.
We've got this research paper here.
Okay.
It's titled Bridging Language Barriers in Healthcare,
Hmm.
a study on Arabic LLMs.
Mm.
It really gets into the nuts and bolts of this whole problem.
Yeah.
And some potential solutions.
Yeah.
So what's the main takeaway here? What's the problem they're trying to solve?
Well, one of the big things they found is that simply translating medical information from Arabic to English and back isn't really enough. Interesting. Arabic has all these unique complexities that make it really difficult for AI to understand accurately.
Even with translation?
Even with translation.
So it's not just a matter of swapping words around?
Exact. It's not that simple.
Okay.
The paper gives this really interesting example of this Arabic root word, HQK.
Okay.
That's JRRB in English letters.
Got it.
And it can mean to try to test or even have these more subtle meanings, depending on the context.
I see.
And you think about that in a medical setting, those little nuances can be so crucial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the difference between trying a treatment and testing a treatment.
Right, right.
It's huge.
Okay, so it's like medical Arabic has its own secret code.
Kind of.
That the AI needs to crack.
That's a good way to put it.
How do they actually put these LLMs to the test? How do they know that it's not working?
Well, they use these things called benchmark data sets.
Okay.
And essentially, these are like standardized tests for AI, specifically designed for medical knowledge. Some of these were translated versions of popular English benchmarks, like MedQA and PubMedQA.
So they could directly compare how well the models did in both languages.
Exactly.
So did the AI pass with flying colors?
Not really. Even the big, powerful LLMs, they kind of struggled.
Interesting.
They found that some were only about 30% accurate on Arabic medical tasks compared to over 60% accuracy on the same tasks in English.
So that's a huge difference.
A huge difference, yeah.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, so for example, Llama 3.1. This is one of the leading LLMs.
Okay.
It scored 62% on the English version of MedQA, but only 29.5% on the Arabic version.
Wow. So even the best AI is basically failing medical school in Arabic.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty worrying if we're talking about using this in, real-world healthcare.
Yeah, it highlights the challenges that researchers are facing.
So what are the solutions? How do we get these LLMs up to speed in Arabic?
Yeah, so the paper mentions a couple of approaches.
Okay.
Let's start with translation pipelines.
Okay, translation pipelines. Can you explain what those are?
So imagine you have the Arabic text going through like a tunnel.
Okay, a tunnel.
First, it gets automatically translated into English. Then it's fed to the LLM, which processes the information in English and generates an output. And then finally, that output is translated back into Arabic.
So we're basically using the strengths of English LLMs that we already have.
Exactly.
But with an extra step or two?
Yeah.
Does that actually work?
It's a promising approach because it leverages what we already have.
Yeah.
But it's not a perfect solution.
Right.
You have to think about all the computational resources that are needed for all that translation.
Yeah.
It's not exactly quick or efficient.
Right.
And as we've already seen, translating complex medical concepts can lead to errors.
So you're telling me even with this fancy translation tunnel, things can still get lost in translation?
Unfortunately, yes.
What did they find?
Well, they found that specialized translation models, the kind that might be great for everyday language, actually struggled with the really specific terms you find in medicine.
Interesting.
Surprisingly more general purpose LLMs, like Llama and Quinn, sometimes did a better job because they were trained on a broader range of data.
So it's kind of like using Google Translate for your medical records versus having a doctor who's fluent in both languages.
Exactly.
You'd probably trust the doctor more.
All right. Probably, yeah.
But if these translation pipelines aren't ideal, what's the other option?
So the other approach they explored is language-specific fine-tuning.
Language-specific fine-tuning.
Yeah, think of it like giving the AI a specialized medical dictionary in Arabic. Researchers basically train the LLMs on a combination of Arabic and English medical data.
Interesting.
Hoping that this will help them learn the nuances of the language in a medical context.
So it's like sending the AI to medical school.
Yeah.
But in Arabic.
Exactly.
It's got to learn all the technical terms and how to apply them correctly.
Exactly.
Oh.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
They experimented with different ratios of Arabic and English data during this fine-tuning process.
Got it.
Kind of like tweaking a recipe to get it just right.
Mm-hmm.
And what they found was that the best ratio wasn't always the same.
Okay.
It depended on the specific medical task
That makes sense.
that the AI was being tested on.
Like diagnosing a condition might be different than
Exactly.
understanding a research paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different levels of language proficiency.
How do they even get enough Arabic medical data in the first place
That's a great question.
to train these models?
That leads us to the data sets they used in this study.
Okay, let's unpack these data sets.
Sure.
What did they use?
So one that they used is called the Arabic Health Questions and Answers dataset,
Okay.
or AHQAD for short.
KHQAD.
Yeah, it's a massive collection of medical questions and answers,
Okay.
all in Arabic,
Why?
covering a wide range of health topics.
That sounds like a goldmine for training these LLMs.
It is.
But I imagine putting something like that together
Yeah,
is a huge undertaking.
absolutely.
Like, how do you even...
It takes a lot of effort
Yeah.
to gather, clean, and annotate all that data.
Yeah.
It's not just random questions from the internet.
Right.
Each one has to be checked and categorized
Why?
by medical experts.
So they're going through and making sure that it's accurate
Exactly.
and relevant.
Yep, to make sure it's actually useful for training the models.
Okay, so that's AHQAD.
Mm-hmm.
What other data sets did they use?
So another one they used is a translated version of an English data set called Med42.
Med42.
Okay. This one is already really well established in the AI research community. So they took this existing English content
Okay.
and they carefully translated it into Arabic
Wow.
using another really powerful LLM,
Okay.
Quinn 2.572B.
Okay, so it's like they're building this bilingual medical library for these AI models.
Good way to think about it.
Real-world Arabic content from AHQAD.
Right.
And then translated content from Med42 to kind of expand that knowledge base even further.
Exactly. They're trying to give the models as much information as possible.
Okay.
And to round it all out, they also created a synthetic data set.
A synthetic data set. Okay.
So basically, they used LLMs to generate new medical questions based on the existing ones in the other data sets.
Interesting.
And then they used another LLM to generate answers to those questions.
So the AI is helping to create its own study materials?
Yeah, it's pretty meta.
That's crazy.
But it's not just random text generation. They used all these advanced techniques to make sure that the synthetic data was still relevant to medicine and consistent with the style of real medical questions and answers.
So it's not just gibberish.
No, not gibberish.
It's actually like...
It's still high quality.
Yeah.
They also had human experts review and validate the synthetic data.
Okay.
Just to maintain that quality control.
So it's a combination of AI ingenuity and human oversight.
Exactly.
To make sure the data is top-notch.
To make sure it's all good.
Okay, so back to this language-specific fine-tuning.
Yeah.
You mentioned that they experimented with different ratios of Arabic and English data.
Right.
Can you give me an example of how that worked?
Sure. So let's say they're fine-tuning an LLM for something like answering medical questions from patients.
Okay.
They might start by training it on a data set.
Okay.
That's 50% Arabic and 50% English medical text.
So trying to find that sweet spot where the AI understands both languages well enough to actually be helpful in a real-world setting.
That's the goal.
Okay.
And what they found is that the optimal ratio could vary quite a bit.
Interesting.
Depending on the task.
Yeah.
For instance, when they tested on PubMed QA.
PubMed QA.
Which is focused on answering questions related to medical research.
Okay.
A model trained on 100% Arabic data actually performed the best.
Really?
Yeah.
You would think that having some English data would always be helpful.
You would think so.
Okay.
But in this case, it seems like the model was able to learn the nuances of Arabic medical terminology more effectively when it was fully immersed.
Wow.
In Arabic text.
But then for a different task, like
exactly.
MedMCQA.
Yeah, so for MedMCQA...
That's a multiple choice question answering data set. It required kind of a different approach.
Yeah, a more balanced mix of Arabic and English data.
Okay.
Led to better results there.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
Too much English. And the AI might lose its edge in Arabic. But too little English. And it might not have enough general medical knowledge to be effective.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right balance
Okay.
for each specific application.
So we've got these different approaches.
Right.
Translation pipelines and language-specific fine-tuning.
Mm-hmm.
Are researchers just picking one or the other?
Well,
or are they combining these methods?
That's a great question. They're actually exploring both individual approaches and hybrid methods that combine elements of both.
So they might use a translation pipeline
Yeah.
to initially process a large amount of English data.
Exactly.
And then use that data to fine-tune an Arabic LLM for a specific task.
They're getting creative, trying to leverage the strengths of each approach.
It's like you're building this toolkit.
Yeah.
With different language tools, and they can mix and match.
I like that analogy.
Depending on the job at hand.
Exactly.
This research is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible. With LLMs and highlighting the potential for AI to really revolutionize healthcare.
Absolutely.
In a way that benefits everyone.
That's the goal.
But what about the practical side of things?
Yeah.
Are we just talking about research papers here?
Yeah.
Or are there actual real-world applications of this technology happening?
There definitely are some early real-world applications emerging.
Oh, cool.
Particularly in the Middle East, where there's a high demand for Arabic language support in healthcare settings.
Give me some examples. What are people actually doing with these Arabic LLMs?
One area we're seeing a lot of activity is in patient communication. Several hospitals in the Middle East are using these AI-powered chatbots that can interact with patients in Arabic.
So like digital assistants for healthcare.
Exactly. They can answer basic questions about appointments, medications, procedures.
They can even help patients navigate the hospital system or access their medical records.
Exactly.
That's huge. Especially for people who might not be familiar with how things work.
Right.
Or who have limited language proficiency.
Absolutely. It can really help reduce anxiety.
And help patients take a more active role in their own care.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really empowering for patients.
Okay, so that's on the patient communication side. What about in clinical settings?
Yeah.
Are doctors using these Arabic LLMs to help with diagnosis or treatment?
Definitely there's growing interest in that area. Researchers are developing LLMs that can actually analyze Arabic medical texts, like patient records, research articles, to help identify potential risk factors or even suggest possible diagnoses.
So it's like having an AI colleague.
Yeah, kind of.
That can help sift through mountains of information and provide insights that a human doctor might miss.
Exactly, because the AI can process so much more information so much faster.
It can also help with things like summarizing patient records, generating personalized treatment plans, or even translating medical documents in real time.
Yeah, that's a really exciting area.
Real-time translation.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is.
Imagine a doctor being able to talk directly with a patient who speaks a different language without needing an interpreter.
Yeah, it could really revolutionize how we provide care.
That's like something out of Star Trek.
Kind of, yeah.
A universal translator for healthcare.
That's the goal.
So this technology really does have the potential to break down these communication barriers.
Yeah.
And improve healthcare access for so many people.
It really does.
That's exciting.
It's a really exciting field.
But I imagine there are still challenges.
Oh, definitely.
What are some of the hurdles that researchers still need to overcome?
One of the biggest ones is data.
Data.
We need more data.
We talked about this earlier with the data sets.
Exactly.
It's not easy to build those resources.
No, it takes time, expertise.
Yeah.
And a lot of attention to detail.
So even though these Arabic LLMs are getting really good,
they're
still limited by how much high-quality training data is available.
We need more medical texts, more conversations, more data in general to train these models to be even more accurate and reliable.
What about the issue of cultural sensitivity?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Language is so closely tied to culture.
Absolutely.
How do we make sure that these LLMs are not just accurate, but also culturally appropriate and respectful?
That's a crucial consideration. It's not enough to just translate words literally. You need to make sure that the AI understands the nuances of Arabic culture.
And how language is used in different contexts.
Exactly.
So it's about more than just linguistics. It's about understanding the people and the communities who will be using this technology.
Exactly. It's about building AI that's not just intelligent, but also empathetic and culturally aware.
It's a tall order.
It is, but I think it's achievable.
Yeah.
And the potential benefits are so great that it's definitely worth the effort.
It sounds like we're still in the early stages of this journey.
Yeah, we are.
But the progress being made is remarkable.
It really is. It's an exciting time to be working in this field.
And you're optimistic about the future of Arabic LLMs in healthcare?
I think we have the potential to transform healthcare delivery.
Make it more accessible, more equitable.
Absolutely.
More patient-centered.
That's the vision.
That's an inspiring vision.
That's what keeps us going.
So for our listener out there who's been with us on this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway? What should they remember about this incredible technology?
I think the key takeaway is that Arabic LLMs really have the potential to bridge these language barriers in healthcare.
In a profound way.
Yeah.
They can help patients communicate better with their doctors. They can empower healthcare providers with new tools and insights.
Yep.
And ultimately, it can lead to better health outcomes for everyone.
That's what we're hoping for.
It's a field that's still evolving. It is. But the possibilities really are limitless.
I think so.
That's a great note to end on.
I agree.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the fascinating world of Arabic LLMs in healthcare.
It was my pleasure.
We hope you found it informative and engaging.
I hope so too.
What stood out to you about this deep dive? Share your thoughts with us on social media.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the fascinating world of knowledge.